All right, so are you ready to dive deep into Superman?
Always ready?
Well, perfect.
Yeah.
Because we're looking at the upcoming Superman reboot. And the first trailer, it just dropped.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody's talking about it. And one of the things that has everybody really buzzing is that the director, James Gunn, has been pretty open about his inspiration
Right.
for this movie, and one comic in particular, that being All-Star Superman.
Yeah, that's a really interesting choice, I think, for him to pick that one. For those who might not be familiar, All-Star Superman, it's a 12-issue series by Grant Morrison and Frank Quitely. And it's considered like a modern classic, even among like diehard Superman fans. Really dives into like the core of who Superman is as a character, all while dealing with this like larger than life storyline.
Yeah, and Gunn specifically said the aesthetics and Lex Luthor, the way he's portrayed in the movie, are heavily influenced by All-Star Superman.
Yeah.
And he even called Lex in the comic a mad science sorcerer, which I love that description.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. All-Star Supermans. Lex Luthor isn't just some rich guy, like, with gadgets, you know? He's, like, brilliant on an almost genius level to where it almost seems like he's bending reality with his inventions. There's this one point where he actually creates a serum that gives him temporarily, like, powers similar to Superman's.
Right.
It's like a visual spectacle, but it really adds this layer of complexity to their rivalry.
Yeah.
You know, because it's not just brawn versus brawn anymore.
Totally changes the game. Yeah, and Gunn also specifically mentioned that science fiction element was very important to him. And I noticed when I was watching the trailer, there's this one shot of Superman. He looks really, really beat up. I'm speculating here, but do you think we could possibly see a powered up Lex Luthor, like in the comic?
Oh, I mean, it's definitely possible. You know, we don't know exactly the plot of the film, and Gunn has said he's not doing a straight adaptation of All-Star Superman. But if he's, you know, really pulling from that comic for characterization and the visuals, I wouldn't be surprised to see, like, some of its key plot points kind of reimagined for the big screen.
Yeah, yeah. And before we get too carried away with speculating about the movie, I think it's important for us to maybe unpack a little bit about what makes All-Star Superman so special. For those who haven't read it, could you kind of give us a quick rundown without any major spoilers?
Absolutely. At its heart, All-Star Superman is about, well, Superman facing his own mortality.
Oh, wow.
He's overexposed to solar radiation, and it's basically given him like a terminal case of super cancer.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so knowing that he doesn't have much time left, he decides to complete 12 seemingly impossible labors for humanity before he says goodbye.
So it's much more than just punching bad guys.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's way more.
And that leads to some incredibly creative and often very moving, like little stories within the larger narrative.
Yeah, exactly. You get everything from him literally lifting an entire city to him traveling to the Underverse, which is basically like this bizarre underworld where he meets like the ghosts of Krypton. And throughout it all, he's constantly challenged, not just physically, but also emotionally and philosophically.
It's really pushing Superman to his absolute limit.
Oh, for sure.
And it's not just Superman that gets this kind of like in-depth treatment. All-Star Superman also features some of the most interesting interpretations of like classic Superman characters we've ever seen, like Lois Lane and even Jimmy Olsen.
Right. And that's one of the things I love most about Morrison's writing is that he takes these characters that we think we know and he adds these layers of like depth and complexity. They make them feel fresh and exciting again.
Yeah, going back to Lex, I'm particularly fascinated by how his intelligence and his ambition are portrayed in All-Star Superman. It's almost like he's like this Shakespearean villain, you know? Like you can almost understand his motivations, even if you don't agree with them.
Absolutely. He's not just like some mustache-twirling evil genius, you know? He genuinely believes that he's doing what's best for humanity, even if that means, you know, getting rid of Superman. And it's that internal conflict, that struggle between his intellect and his ego that makes him such a compelling antagonist.
It's like he's almost the hero of his own story.
Yeah, in a way.
Yeah. So with all of that in mind, how do you think these elements from All-Star Superman how might they manifest in Gunn's reboot? What are you most excited to see translated to the big screen?
That's a great question. I mean, from what we've seen in the trailer, the visual style already seems heavily inspired by Quitely's art, especially the way Superman is depicted. You know, that there's a sense of grandeur and power, but also this kind of vulnerability. It's really captivating.
And Gunn has praised Nicholas Holt's portrayal of Lex Luthor. He called him intimidating.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll see that kind of like intellectual ruthlessness that defines Lex in All-Star Superman. Maybe that will really shine through in Holt's performance.
Yeah, maybe, maybe. I'm also curious to see how Gunn handles the thematic elements of the comic, like Superman's selflessness and his unwavering belief in humanity, even in the face of his own mortality.
Right, and those are themes that really resonate deeply with audiences no matter what era you're in. And if Gunn can capture that essence, this reboot has the potential to be something truly special.
It really does. All-Star Superman isn't just a great Superman story. You know, it's a story about hope and resilience and the power of the human spirit. And those are themes that'll always be relevant.
Yeah, it seems like Dunn's really trying to tap into that, like, heart of Superman.
Right.
It's not just about,
Yeah.
super strength and flying and heat vision, all that stuff.
Right.
It's really about what those powers represent.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like hope, inspiration, all those big ideals.
And that's where All-Star Superman really shines, I think. You know, it reminds us that Superman's greatest strength isn't his, invulnerability or super speed, but his unwavering compassion and his belief in the good of humanity.
Yeah, I think that's what makes this reboot so exciting.
Yeah.
It's not just a superhero movie, but it's a chance to maybe explore these timeless themes in a fresh new way.
Yeah, exactly. And knowing that Gunn is drawing inspiration from All-Star Superman, a story that embodies those themes so beautifully, makes it even more intriguing.
For sure. All right, deep divers, mark your calendars because the Superman reboot, it blasts into theaters July 11th, 2025.
There you go.
But while we wait, I highly recommend checking out All-Star Superman for yourself.
Yeah, you'll not only get a deeper understanding of, where Gunn might be pulling his inspiration from, but you'll also experience a truly unforgettable Superman story.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And who knows, maybe you'll spot some connections that we missed. We only kind of scratched the surface here today, but hopefully this deep dive has given you a taste of what makes All-Star Superman so special and why its influence on the upcoming reboot is such a big deal.
It's an exciting time to be a Superman fan.
It really is. And with Gunn at the helm and drawing inspiration from such a powerful and iconic story, I think we're in for something truly remarkable.
I think so too.
So until next time, deep divers, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep looking up at the sky.